Y'all, welcome back to another video. Alright, so today is the day that we are going to react to the original shop website, rottennut.com. Now, I never heard this before. The video is 4 years old. I don't know what's happening, bro, but listen, we are just going to react to this video. Let's get to it. I bet. Not for kids. Yeah, I'm putting as no children, as usual. Bet. What the world? Hold on, I'm putting that for a little bit.
Our morbid curiosities often lead us down dark roads when surfing the ominous waves of the internet. In 2020, getting content that satiates our thirst is only a few clicks or taps away, either by places like LiveLeak or certain subreddits. In fact, it's quite easier to find gruesome and disturbing content, even when you aren't looking for it. I personally believe that this helped to desensitize our culture by having these pieces of content easily available. However, 20 years ago, you could only find this content slowly loading on an HTML page, only to find low-resolution pictures and even really crummy, barely 144p video.
Gosh.
One of these places is the infamous yet widely influential Rotten.com. Rotten.com was founded by
When hell is full, the day will walk the earth.
Influential Rotten.com. Rotten.com was founded by Soylent Communications in late 1996 after the creator Thomas wrote a program that surfaced all internet domains names that appeared in a dictionary but were not registered. Rotten was one of the words left unclaimed, and Thomas created the website after paying for the domain name.
What?
Due to the limitations and the infancy of web design at the time,
Bro, get everything. T-shirts, press, words, legal, porno, F-Max. What the word is F-Max? Mugshots, FAQ content. This on top of a dark web jump, bro. Hold on, rottennut.com. The soft white underbelly of the net. Rotten.com collects images and information from many sources to present the viewer with a truly unpleasant experience.
the website's layout was in Spartan style. No thumbnail images were present next to links, and the links themselves had one-line descriptions that dabbled in morbid humor and often carried no hints to the content behind them. Most of Rotten.com's content was user-submitted and commented on by Soylent staff, which meant some of the content was often misinterpreted or misattributed. However, most content on the site was verifiably real or true. One such case of these incidents is motorcycle.jpg. The content suggested that the subject of the image was due to a motorcycle accident, but this was from
Wait, y'all. What's the story behind the motorcycle pic? We have to admit, the motorcycle pic has caused a lot of email. It being one of the most disconcerting things people have ever seen. We called it motorcycle because it advised as motorcycle JPG, but it is more likely an attempt shotgun suicide. The man lived, and attorney wrote us demanding that we take the picture down, but was unable to provide enough details for us to comply with this. Okay.
A failed suicide attempt. Use your imagination to fill in the blanks on what this looks like. This is the type of content that was housed on this website. Every click could lead you to something shocking and disturbing, or something really silly. It was honestly like opening Pandora's box and having to wait a few minutes to load the picture, especially in 1997. Rotten.com was online for over 20 years until it suddenly fell offline in 2018. Even though Rotten.com as a utility is essentially obsolete now, its influence is felt in how we navigate and remember shock sites and content. What might be hard to believe is that Rotten.com had a few idiosyncrasies that set it apart from the internet at the time. Rotten.com had a personality. It had a way of presenting its content that a lot of other websites didn't. For as juvenile, vile, and open-ended as Rotten.com was, it wasn't just all shock. Its staff made sure to sprinkle sardonicism and apathy for the world.
How do you think someone would feel if their dead body was posted on the internet? I would think they feel nothing. What's with being dead in it all? What?
And providing its content. In fact, Rotten had a few different subsites that gave more than just shock images you'd browse for a few minutes. The Rotten library featured less than professionally written articles on a few anecdotes and pieces of interesting information, sprinkled with color commentary. Surprisingly enough, it was a host to a variety of information that is kind of fun to even look through now, like learning of the porn star who murdered a bunch of people and got AIDS. I didn't say this was a family-friendly library experience. You could also learn about such things as the history of opioids or the story of D.B. Cooper, a man that got away with hijacking a plane. Rotten also featured subsites such as Celebrity Mark, celebrity
What the
nudes,
world?
and even a gift shop where you can supposedly buy a human femur. Well, this was the gift shop in its very, very early days. Later on, it would go on to sell more traditional items like shirts and mugs and hats.
Yeah, this some type of dark web junk, bro. This some dark web type stuff. Nah, I probably listen. Best believe they probably have this at the dark web, but a lot worse than on the top surface of the internet. I'm not gonna hold you though. These shirts made look fire though. You know what I'm saying? Like I might actually fit. You know, he really does want to die. What the?
Items like shirts and mugs and hats.
News you cannot possibly use.
Another subsite was phallic.org. I don't need to explain what this is, do I? But I will need to explain boner.com. Boner.com was a version of Rotten that was updated daily with less shocking images and more just humorous content. In 2003, Rotten.com launched Deadpool, a betting game where players picked 10 relatively well-known people that would die in the next 12 months. People who guessed close or correctly were rewarded points. The only exceptions were that of the pick being executed, murdered, or dying after the 12 months had passed. Not sure if there was really anything else like this at the time, but this just goes to show you the lack of humanism that could come with the internet. I'm sure that this is fun for some people, but this would really not fly today.
That's what?
Before I get into this section of the video, I just want to acknowledge Justin Wang's video where he talks about the legal entanglements and how Rotten.com fought for free speech. I'd like to talk about something entirely different, so if you want to know more about that, go watch Justin Wang's video on it. What I really want to talk about is the shape in which this information even came to be. Before the internet, getting your hands on this type of real uncensored content
Snuffling of an actual murder. God, bro.
Was either very sketchy or in some way emulated for entertainment value. You weren't going to find vivid depictions or real photographs of car accidents, dismemberments, failed suicide attempts, and some wacky pornography. Today, you can find an abundance of any of these types of content almost weekly. Be it LiveLeak or Best Score, the morbid parts of reality are being documented in real time. The bigger difference between how we navigate today's content versus back in the dial-up days is that Rotten.com never gave you explicit details before showing you the content. Everything was meant to serve as a surprise in a way. You couldn't go wandering in the comment section of a Reddit thread to distinctly find out what you were getting yourself into before clicking the link. Back then, that slow internet often revealed something that was bound to ruin your day because you didn't have any context to prepare yourself. I believe this adds a little bit more layers of nuance to being desensitized from this content. We're accountable for our actions and seeking out this content. There is something in the back of our head and our morbid curiosity that sparks. But in a way, proverbially, we light a stick of dynamite and then we stick it in our brains and then kind of still just expect to not have any consequences of the such. Seeing the Black Dahlia murder pictures from Rotten.com gave me this experience. I saw it quite young, and for a lack of a better term to describe it, it absolutely tore me in half, and stuck my toes in my genitals for some reason.
Whoa, hold on. Picture above is the mugshot of Elizabeth Short, better known as the Black Dahlia, arrested in 1943 for underage drinking in Santa Barbara, born in Medford. Short spent her time after high school crisscrossing the country, eventually settling in Hollywood with predictably unrequited starlet-type aspirations. This aimless young lady came to national attention on 15 January 1947 after a strongly-pressured mother divorce discovered her torn body in a, oh my gosh, torso cut in two and drained of his blood. People are just...
However, the way that this content was presented to me caught me off guard. Once I subjected myself to the images, my curiosity only grew, and from that point, I just wanted to see how far I can really take it. And really, that's the double-edged sword with the internet. There's enough content to satiate you, but then there's enough content to overstimulate you. I imagine in the late 1990s, the experience of having to wait and anticipate the image or content only fueled observers' imagination more, only to knock their expectations completely out of line. How we interface and navigate websites ultimately lends to a lot of how our experiences are shaped, especially in the early days of the internet. Again, today you can go crawl into the comment section for comfort now before even indulging in the content if you choose to, but navigating Rotten.com is like wandering into a cave alone. There was no reprieve back then. There was only you and a dimly lit CRT monitor separating you both. Due to our culture today being desensitized to a lot of this content, thanks to our entertainment diet, it might be less shocking to see the real thing now. However, back then, it's a different story. Hell, years before Rotten.com, the US government were getting their panties in a bunch about Night Trap and Mortal Kombat, which is basically Teletubbies compared to what you can find in just one hyperlink here. Then again, this is Web 1.0. There is a surprise no matter where you go. The internet, in a consumer interactive sense, was very primitive and in a post-coitus state. Not infant state. Like the sex, yeah. There are funny things to be found on this website. It isn't just guts and gore. In fact, if you really go back and surf through this on the Wayback Machine, some of these images work effectively as something your grandmother would post on Facebook. I mean, not the gore, but just some of the stupid shit on here. Antiquated is a word that I would associate with Rotten.com, but it has a significant and important place in internet history. Without it, we'd have had no way of realizing how we would navigate this content and have to deal with the consequences of access to the said content. The creator of Rotten.com had to pull content from the website many times for crossing the line. However, that line would be pushed further and further with time and more content. Other websites like Ogreish and BestGore.com also contributed to this, but Rotten.com had an interesting personality. It was witty, misanthropic, and generally had no care for humanity in general. But what could you expect from a website that displayed the worst of humanity? And also this weird mascot.
Hold on, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. Hold on. We still got that? Rotten website. Let's see. Rotten.com library. Oh, it's still live. I would click it. Bro. But like, I don't want my channel to be demonetized, bro. I'm not gonna hold you, bro. But Edo, you know what I'm saying, bro? I'ma just leave it like that. Honestly, no way. Y'all, low key, y'all, it's kind of crazy. Rotten.com sounds scary. I don't really condone going to any freaking, you know what I'm saying, gore sites because it's crazy. It will traumatize you. It's just crazy, bro. I don't recommend going there, bro. But like I say, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. Get to watch the subs, man. Y'all know what time it is, man. As always, stay blessed out there.